Welcome to the Money with Friends podcast. I am certified financial planner, Bobbi Rebell, host of the Financial Grown Up podcast, coming to you from my very grown up kitchen in New York City.
Coming to you from Texarkana, Texas, where we make the Stacky Benjamin show. I'm Joe Saul-Sehy.
This is Money with Friends, where every weekday we share the latest headlines, why they matter, and specific ideas and advice for your financial life. And on the weekends, we share highlights, preview the week ahead, and answer your questions.
Today's show is brought to you by Tiller Money. With Tiller Money, you can look at all of your transactions in one place, and also it's much better than, oh my goodness, my brain just went out the window, Bobby. Check out Tiller Money, 30-day free trial. moneywithfriends.com/MD. I got to do that again. We got to just start that.
We're going to do
over. Holy crap. I didn't have it in front of me.
Do you want to start the whole show over, or do you want to start the ad over? By the way, for anyone just joining us, Joe has COVID. He's doing this with COVID, okay? Seriously.
Let's start the whole thing over because of the fact that I also sound echoey, they said.
Okay, so let's work out your audio.
Well, here's the thing. I'm hearing it too, and I can't figure out what it is.
Okay.
Audio input. Here it is.
No, don't say that, Michelle. It is not old age. Joe is so young.
Easy, Michelle.
I was tempted to say something political, but I'm not going to say anything. Hey, everyone. That
should be better there.
I do think that I am going to watch the debate tonight. That's all I'm going to say. I think it's really interesting what's happening. Okay.
Hold on. That should be better. Let's just wait and get confirmation that that's better.
What are the odds? Let's do it. Let's do a quiz with our audience. So my son's school starts in 3 minutes. I woke him up and got him ready, Zoom school in the other room before this started. What are the odds Harry will actually be at his computer in 3 minutes? I say 50-50. What do you say? This is fun parenting during the coronavirus pandemic.
20% chance.
Will my son make it 2 feet from his bed to his computer on time this morning without me? I've already woken him up 3 times because he's a teenager now. He's 13. So that's kind of, Joe's an empty nester. He doesn't remember the fun of 13-year-olds.
I totally
He's blocked it out of his memory, right?
I totally do. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, exactly. 40%, Chris. Thank you. Yes. I think Chris is even less optimistic about his ability to get in front of the computer, but probably more realistic, actually. The good news is he's supposed to go back to school November 3rd. We may be back in person. Maybe.
All right. Let's do this. Let's do this again.
Let's do the show.
One more time. Right. I cannot get that thing to I'm just going to own it.
You're in a new setting too. I think for those of you who don't know, Joe also moved into a whole new house. So he's been setting up his home studio again while battling COVID. So there's a lot of stuff that was just like, making it work, Joe. You're making it work.
Yeah, when I saw that I sounded echoey, and we're starting to work with our video guy today, actually. I haven't even told Bobby that yet. Anyway, so Ethan, our new video editor, and I are working on that. So I'm like, oh, great. First video he's going to work on, and I'm going to sound like crap. So thanks for catching that. All right, here we go.
You know what? You sound great to me.
Thank you. This is
it's all about the intelligence and the wisdom that you convey.
I don't know. That's going to take a lot. All right, here we go. Let's do this.
All right. Take 3, because I messed up the first time. Welcome to the weekend edition of Money with Friends, where we look back at the highlights of the week that was and get you guys ready for the week to come. Plus, we take your questions about, anything reasonable that you want to ask us. It is Saturday, October 24th. Let's talk money with our friends. Welcome to the Money with Friends podcast. I am certified financial planner, Bobbi Rebell, host of the Financial Grown Up podcast, coming to you from my very grown up kitchen in New York City.
And coming to you from my mom's half-finished basement in Texarkana, Texas, where we make the Stacking Benjamin show. I'm Joe Saul-Sehy.
This is the show where on weekdays, we share the latest headlines, why they matter, and specific ideas and advice for your financial life. And on the weekends, we share highlights, preview the week ahead, and answer your questions.
Today's show is brought to you by NordPass. We lock passwords, you hold the keys. With NordPass, store your passwords in the cloud. Access them on desktop, mobile, or your favorite browser, all encrypt on your device for your eyes only. Get up to 50% off by using our link, nordpass.com/MWF. Bobbi, what a crazy week we just had. And I'm
bananas.
In so many ways, I'm glad this week is over.
Yes, I am so glad this week is over. So many crazy things happening. We're going to stay away from politics, but I know that we're going to be talking on Monday. We'll skip to a little bit of a preview. We're going to be talking about this Quibi debacle that just imploded. That just happened. We got iPhones. That was actually kind of an interesting highlight. We talked about that on last Monday's show. So that was interesting. I still have not pulled the trigger. I am going to buy an iPhone. And I truly welcome any audience comments. You can DM me on Instagram if you're with us live here. Let me know what you think. I can't decide if it's worth upgrading to the 12 because the 5G thing. And plus, I'm old, guys. Do I get the bigger phone because the words will be bigger? Like there's a bigger screen, but then they're saying it's like too big and I'm going to regret it. And I don't know if I want to go into an Apple store and actually try them because COVID. And so I don't really have a sense of how big and how heavy these phones are. So, I mean, these are first world problems, but I do live in, America. So I get to have these problems.
Bobbi, it could be like that 1980s comb hanging out of the back of your pocket there. You can look fantastic in your Lee jeans with your huge phone hanging out of your pocket. I like the takeaways. I like the takeaways from Monday and the fact that maybe Apple was giving people too many choices. Usually you want to slim down the number of choices and make it easier for people. And they didn't do that. But I also like what you did with Amy Goodman on Tuesday, who joined you for some tips on holiday big messages. I can't believe we're talking about the holiday already, but it is the season. You guys really dove into holiday spending coming.
Yeah, so Amy really knows her stuff. She's a lifestyle and shopping expert. You might see her on Live with Ryan and Kelly. She's on all of the morning shows. And by the way, she has an awesome Reels channel through Instagram. So follow her at Amy E. Goodman. But Amy had a lot to say about what we should buy, but also when we should buy it, because you really can't wait. I mean, we kind of in the past years, we've rolled our eyes at these retailers trying to get us to buy sooner. And, there's been pushback even about Black Friday that why do we need to buy for Christmas and Hanukkah or whatever, Kwanzaa so early? They're pushing us to buy at Thanksgiving. Now it's pushed even earlier, but there's a good reason. It's because shipping is going to be a thing. So if you want something and you want to get it by the holidays, and certainly if you want to get it mailed to somebody that you're not going to get to see in person for the holidays, you got to do it sooner rather than later because of inventory issues and just getting it there. And you're not going to see these promises of saving our butts with overnight shipping the day before Christmas. It's not happening this year. They can't make that promise.
Well, and on Wednesday, you went from wide to narrow to a single celebrity who has some new skincare products.
Yeah. So Kristen Bell is doing the happy dance. That is her skincare line, which comes with CBD infusions. And we'll see how successful she is. I mean, it's not her first business venture. She does have another one with her husband, which is baby stuff. And she's very relatable in the ads. So I think that it's going to be interesting because she makes CBD, which is intimidating to a lot of people, very accessible. And she's going very narrowly after the mom market. So I think the marketing is great. We also on the show, what was really fun is we went through some of the biggest flops of celebrities and some of the biggest successes. And I was surprised because a lot of these celebrities that have had the biggest successes, like a Kanye West with Yeezy, had total flops beforehand. I mean, even the Kardashians, which, they are related. They had a lot of flops. So we went through the celebrities that have had big flops and the ones that have big successes and talked about kind of the differentiators. So I hope people check out that episode if they haven't seen it yet.
It kind of reminded me of when Jason Harris was on a couple weeks ago, the discussion that you guys had about flop or not, and the fact that you have to have first a great product and then market it well. Having a celebrity involved helps you market it well, but you still have to have a good product. Yes.
And you were talking about another celebrity, a very different story on Thursday with Chadwick Boseman.
Well, and it's amazing. Adam Carroll and I talked about this, Bobbi, on Thursday, that Chadwick Boseman knew he was passing away for a long, long time. He, by all accounts, knew it during his last few movies, even that his prognosis was probably terminal, and yet he still passed away without a will. And then questions around the fact that he and his wife had been secretly married. Does that mean that maybe there's some family issues when it comes to the will? Is there going to be a fight over the will in the future? We don't know any of that. But what we do know is that the earlier you get your will done, the earlier you get that out of the way, the easier it's going to be for everybody. Because right now what he's left is a bunch of hanging issues that now the family has to pick up.
Right. And also probate, which is expensive and timely and kind of a nightmare. So you want to avoid probate, which is basically getting the government in your business. What people don't always understand is if you don't make a will, you get a default will from the government, and they're going to tell you or your survivors what's going to happen. And it's going to be really expensive and really time consuming and make them really miserable. So have something. You can always change your will. That's the thing. So get something in writing and you can always adjust it. I know that's something that we've done in our family, and it's not always going to be perfect. And you may make different choices about who's going to take care of a child depending on the age of the child. You can change your will, but get something in writing. And Friday, this was also very interesting and very timely. You talked about different ways that we are approaching education with Adam Carroll and what is the value. And I certainly related to this as a parent of a child going to pretty much the most expensive school in the country for college. And, you think, is it worth it? We obviously are paying it and think it's worth it. But, he's getting a degree in film and TV. I think he'll be massively successful, but it's a lot of cash. And he's learning a lot of technical skills, and Google's a lot of technical skills,
I was saying, you have other people in film and TV in your family already, so you already have some people who know a little bit.
I think he'll be successful, but it's a lot of cash to get this kind of degree to do that. Do you need that degree, I guess?
Sure.
Or can you do these Google courses to learn all this technical stuff?
One of the most compelling parts about our discussion on Friday was the fact that it's an opinion piece. And as you know, Bobbi, we don't do many opinion pieces. We try to shy away from people's opinion and instead bring you just a straight headline. But in this case, it's the opinion of the president of a top liberal arts college. So these are the colleges that are squarely in the bullseye when people talk about really expensive schools that people haven't necessarily heard of. This was the president of Denison University in Granville, Ohio, a beautiful place, by the way, but still a very, very small, very expensive school. And the president of that school talking about how Google may be changing the game with their certification program. And now for $47 or $49, you can get this certification. And depending on what HR managers decide to do with that and hiring managers decide to do with that, that may change the game for everybody. You're holding your mug up. What does it say?
I'm holding my mug up. This says, so because in our audience here, DeAndre 36 is asking what it says. It says, pour yourself a cup of ambition, XO Dolly, as in Dolly Parton. And this was a gift to me from Diane Harris, who's the executive editor at Newsweek. And I adore her and I love the mug.
Yeah. Mine is brewed in Kansas City, and it's Boulevard Brewing, because while I'm sick, I'm dreaming about someday going back and having a beer at some point.
Yeah.
I will have a beer. Probably not first thing in the morning. But it's going to be interesting to see how the game changes. Getting back to this issue, is the game going to change a lot? I think it is. I think COVID's already changing the game. People are starting to question. We questioned everything on Friday from, does it really take 4 years to get that degree? Should it take 4 years, or could it be less time? Do we need all of that time? Do we need all that expense? It was a
Right.
good discussion on Friday.
Or are we going to be honest and say it's not just about the degree? It's about 4 years of having a total holistic experience of growing up and having a transition time between living with your parents. And we're stereotyping here because not everyone has that, is going to college in that time period, but between living with your parents and then going to your quote first real job. So maybe we just be honest and say it's not just about the academic education. Maybe it's about the socialization, forming friendships, having an experience where you're still under some support by authorities in terms of, you have a dorm, you have some things done for you, but you have more independence. And then it's a transition time of life, and that's what you're paying for. And be honest about it.
Sure. I think this idea that you coldly calculate the ROI of college really depends on what you're trying to do with your degree. In some places where you're just trying to get a technical certificate, certainly spend as little money as possible on that, find the best teacher in that area for the least amount of money and get that done. But for some people, as an example, I've talked about a lot lately, I'm taking the master class with Goodby and Silverstein, these guys that run one of the top advertising agencies in the nation. They were talking about how a liberal arts degree where you don't learn one thing in particular, you learn a little bit about a lot of things. So you can sit at a lot of different tables and talk to a lot of different people about many different subjects is perfect for advertising. It is much, much better to have a liberal arts education for that person and to know a little bit. I know when I was a financial planner, even though I needed to know a lot about finance, I needed to know a ton about people. And when people would walk in my door, I would have to be able to talk on a lot of different aspects of not just money, but of life and politics and sports and whatever the heck they were interested in. I had to at least have a cursory knowledge of that stuff so that I could communicate with them so that I could then transition to helping them making better money decisions later. So liberal arts education, expensive, but depending on what you're using it for, could also be fantastic. It was a good show. Actually, it was a great week, wasn't it?
It was a great week.
Yeah.
And next week's going to be really awesome too. But first, we need to talk about my little issue that I've gotten over with, which is the password thing. Right? Yes. You have a solution for my password issue when I got hacked, as our regular listeners know.
I very well might have a solution, and it might be called NordPass. NordPass is the place where people like Bobbi and I store our passwords. It's a password manager. We actually even talked about this in our Chadwick Boseman discussion on Thursday, that if something happens to me, Cheryl knows where all the passwords are. She has them all. They're all in one place. She can get into all the different accounts, makes it much, much easier for her. NordPass locks the passwords, and we hold the keys with NordPass. Store your passwords in the cloud, get them on desktop, mobile, your favorite browser, wherever you are, you can sign into NordPass and get your password, all encrypted on your device for your eyes only. You'll get 50% off and a 30-day money-back guarantee by heading to nordpass.com/MWF. That's NordPass, N-O-R-D, pass.com/MWF. Bobbi, we've got a heck of a week coming up. We want to start off with the economic calendar.
Sure. Go for it.
All right. Absolutely. Coming up on Monday, we kick off the week with new home sales. That's going to be interesting. See what's been going on in the world of new home sales. Also, we find out about the toy aisle. A lot of companies are declaring earnings next week, but Hasbro caught my eye. Fourth quarter buying in the toy lane. How's that going to look? Is it going to be different with people at home? The Hasbro bringing new stuff. We're going to see that on Tuesday. It's all about consumer confidence. Is the consumer hanging in there, or is this recession that we're hearing about finally here? Also, companies in the news: 3M, Aflac, JetBlue, Merck, and Microsoft. Microsoft, of course, one of the hottest companies the last couple of years, declares earnings on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we go to mortgage applications. The company I used to work with, Ameriprise, declaring earnings. Allegiant Travel, General Electric. I'm interested, though, in O'Reilly Auto Parts, Bobbi. When it comes to some things, do you take your car to have it fixed by somebody else, or do you do it yourself? There's this piece of me that thinks that O'Reilly might be one of these things when you can tell when people are starting to cut back, right? If you're starting to cut back, you might start changing your own oil if you know a little bit about cars. We'll see. O'Reilly and Six Flags also on the other side. People starting to return to theme parks. We'll see that on Wednesday. Thursday, we have GDP and consumer spending. Then Apple, another obviously hugely traded stock by a wide number of people. Activision Blizzard, we talked about games with Hasbro earlier, but we'll talk video games that day. AMC, Molson Coors. And on Friday, employment wage numbers. That's going to be a big day, seeing who's employed.
That is a big number. That's a big day. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are people being paid? Not how many people are employed, but what are they being paid? Going to be a big day on Friday. ExxonMobil, Chevron, and WP Carey, which is another big REIT firm. I mentioned last week that I'm interested in what's going on in the REIT market. WP Carey, a huge REIT company, on Friday. That's the week's economic calendar.
Very cool. Should we do our listener question next, or should we talk about what's going to be on the show next week?
Let's wrap up what's on the show, and then we'll do the listener question to end the day, if that's right with you.
All right. So Monday, we're actually going to be talking about Quibi. That was a huge implosion, and we're going to discuss lessons from it. I mean, money cannot buy you success. Past success cannot buy you success. And just because you convince people to give you billions of dollars because you are two of the most successful people in business in this country, frankly, doesn't mean your next venture is going to be great. Basically, anyone can fail, and don't feel bad about failure. That's what I think we're going to talk about. Or maybe you should feel bad. I don't know. I mean, they spent a lot of money. A lot of people lost money on this deal.
Well, and what's amazing to me, and we'll talk about this on Monday, is the number of people who I'm sure are listening to this or hanging out with us who still, after all that money, have no idea what Quibi is. Have no idea.
Do you even know what Quibi stands for?
No.
See, that is problem number one. It stands for quick bites. But the fact that they did not really aggressively promote what the word Quibi means is problem number one. How do people not? I've asked people, nobody knows what it's. If people have heard of Quibi at all, they don't know what it is, what it stands for. And it stands for quick bites. And why don't they promote that part? Like, come on, guys. And there was so much advanced publicity. Anyway, we're going to save the discussion for Monday because I clearly have a lot to say about this one.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday, David Bach is back from Italy. And first of all, we're definitely going to talk a lot about money and get his advice about stuff. But I'm also just really excited to see how he is, because there's a lot of stuff going on with COVID in Italy. And I know he was really excited. His kids were going to school in person, and he was able to do a lot of really awesome activities. He's been doing crew outside of his apartment, and he's been doing bike rides and really awesome stuff. And now, so much economically could be shutting down if they go back to lockdowns. So I'm excited to hear from David about, just get a firsthand report on that. And then of course, we'll do a couple of money stories.
On Thursday and Friday, I'm back with Bola Sukumbi, which will be fun for Clever Girl Finance. Bola and I had a really interesting discussion a month ago with all the news that's about to hit this week. Some of the stuff that we went over in the economic calendar. Bola always has a great opinion, and not only that, she can make it fun and keep it light. She can even take these really difficult decisions or discussions and make them light, which I really like about Bola. So that's late in the week. And then of course, on Saturday, you and I back with another weekly recap show. Yes. All right. You have a question from one of our listeners.
So we are now doing Ask Me Anythings on Instagram. Go to @MoneyFriendsPod to ask your question. We will post stickers there, question stickers there on occasion. But if you don't see one and you have a question, you can just DM us it and we'll put it in the queue for a future show. This one comes to us from our listener, Wade Hodge. He asks, is it better to max out your 401k or get the match and then do a Roth? Love the show. Thanks, Wade. We love your question. All right. So here's my take on that. First of all, you are 100% right. Always go for that match first, Wade, because it is free money. So you are correct on that. And I just want to stress that to everybody. Free money. Free money. If there's a match, get that money in there. And of course, make sure that you actually invest it. Now, as for the rest, these are the factors that you should be considering when you're deciding whether to put more retirement money into your 401k in a company or into a Roth, which I presume is a Roth IRA. Your tax situation. Do you want to pay now or later? If you're in a high tax bracket now, you might want to do something like a 401k where you're not going to pay tax until later in life. So the money will grow. There'll be more money in the pot that grows. So that could be really advantageous. If you are in a low tax bracket now and you anticipate paying higher taxes in the future, you want to really lean towards a Roth in general, because that money is going to already have passed through the tax man. And when you get it, it's all yours, which is nice. You also should consider access to the money. The Roth money is generally going to be easier to access, and there'll be less of a tax consequence because you already paid the tax. And there are ways to access the Roth money where you can avoid penalties, like if you're using it for a first home. And then the other thing I do want to mention is your investment choices. The Roth is going to give you more choices. When you're in a 401k within a company, they give you a list of choices to choose from. And so you are stuck in that universe and you have to go with them. Very often the choices are reasonable, but you are stuck with those choices. And bonus tip to think about, and hopefully this is not relevant to any of our listeners, the money is often more protected in a 401k from creditors. So you do want to consider that if you do anticipate ever having creditors come after your money. 401ks are really hard for creditors to get to. IRAs too, Roths too, but it's a little bit easier. So 401ks offer the absolute most protection among that class of things to protect your money should creditors come after it. Anything to add, Joe?
Absolutely. One thing that that always strikes me with questions like yours, Wade, is that we don't want perfect to be the enemy of good. There's something said for getting money saved, and whenever you decide to switch from one form of savings to another, so if you're going to shut off that 401k and then you're going to put money someplace else, there's always a danger that you're not going to do it. That you go, you know what? I'm just going to put a little extra money in my paycheck the next couple of weeks because I have insert whatever the thing of the moment is here. And then I'll turn it on, and then you never do. And you end up saving a lot less money. So at the very least, I really like sticking with the 401k plan because of the fact that it's hidden. It gets taken out of your check before you even see it. It's gone. I love that. And most people don't even recognize it as money. They're like, oh, I didn't even know I had that money. I mean, I can't tell you the number of people where I would help them set up their 401k plan, and then they come in later on and we look at it together for the first time. They're like, how did all this money get here? Well, guess what? You saved it. You tricked yourself into saving that money. But that said, I do like this. If you can do it, and you actually will do it, I do like having both versus either or. Well, and Bobbi, your analysis of that is right on about tax brackets. But here's the deal. We don't know where we're going to be in the future. We have no idea where we're going to be. So for me to have some money in this tax pot and some other money in this other tax pot that I can grab from, depending on where I'm at later on, is fantastic. I like pre-tax because I like the bird in the hand now. I like getting that tax break today, but I like the Roth because it gives me flexibility later. And those are two sides of what we call the tax triangle in financial planning. The third side, by the way, is where it gives you no tax benefit at all. It just is flexible money. So it's money like in a regular brokerage account or your savings account. But we've got the Roth on one side, the pre-tax on the other, and then we've got this flexible money as the third. Great question, Wade. First thing to think about though is, will I really do it? If you're not sure if you really will make that switch, then man, just keep it in the 401k because having more money saved is always the best answer.
I totally agree. The most important thing is to be saving, because speaking as old people now, I'm telling you, it does add up. That money, I joke, but the money I put away in my very first job at CNBC is right there. I mean, I rolled it now because I left the job. I rolled it into, an IRA that I, that's like just my IRA, but it's there. It's there many years later, still growing. And it was a good thing to do. Time does work.
How can you say old person when you're like 25 years younger than me? Like, what's up there? I don't know what's going on.
Joe and I are about the same age, by the way.
All right. That's going to do it. That's going to do it for today. She's Bobbi. I'm Joe. We have anything else to do here? Or are we done, Bobbi?
We're going to be back on Monday talking Quibi.
Amen. Sounds great. Bobbi and I will see you back here then. Bye-bye.